My name is Chris Moore. I'm a partner with Armanino. I started our Microsoft practice way back in 2003. And we're really excited today to kind of present the art of the possible with the Power Platform. There's just so many possibilities. Our customers are leveraging, the Power Platform to really create and to solve some of their complex problems in a low-code, no-code environment. Today, there are over 16 million active users on the Power Platform, and that's up 97% from the previous year. The Power Platform offers companies the opportunity to streamline their business processes, create workflows, and as I mentioned, solve some of the more difficult, problems. Today, we're super lucky to have Charles Lamanna present from Microsoft. He's a CVP of Low-Code Application Platform at Microsoft. And I think his title really speaks to sort of the energy and the investment that Microsoft's putting behind the Power Platform. I've heard Charles speak the last couple of years. I've been part of the Microsoft Partner Advisory Council, and every time he speaks, I get inspired and excited about the capabilities of the platform and just overall the direction as to where kind of Microsoft is going with the technology. So thank you, Megan. Yeah, so today, Charles, I'd like to turn it over to you. And once again, appreciate you joining. And in terms of the registrants, I really appreciate everyone, kind of joining our webinar today and looking forward to the event.
Thank you, Chris. And I just want to echo the same thing. Thanks for everybody for taking the time to join today. And I'm grateful for Armanino to feature Power Platform and what's possible. I have some content I'm going to walk through, and then we'll have the fireside chat. We're, as Chris mentioned, at Microsoft, we're incredibly excited about what Power Platform is ultimately going to mean for so many of our customers, and hopefully I'll be able to convince everybody of the same that's listening today. So when we first talk about Power Platform, I always like to begin with the why. Why do we think Power Platform and low code is going to be so important to the future of so many companies and how they digitize? And it's three main reasons. The first is there's really unprecedented digital demand. Over the next few years, companies are going to have to build over 500 million applications, which is more than all the applications built in the last 40 years. Additionally, 50% of office and information work could be automated today with current technology. So it's an automation project waiting to happen, but no one's responding to it or delivering on it. So really the highest demand we've ever seen for digital solutions. Second item is that there's just not enough developers to respond to that demand. Even if our customers wanted to go out and hire armies of coders to drop in and build out solutions, they couldn't. There's a 1 million developer shortfall in the United States. 86% of our customers struggle to hire technical talent. There's just no way for this unprecedented demand to be met by a supply of coders. It's just not working out. And then item number three, as we're in 2021, the impact of COVID-19 continues with parts of the world still in forms of lockdown, and a significant impact on how office workers work, with remote work and hybrid work becoming a prevailing pattern. So many business processes have to be reimagined, whether it's in supply chain or understanding your customer or anything else. You're going to have to reimagine how you do business. And there's also broader macroeconomic pressure. There's a 5% GDP contraction in the world last year. So just a lot of pressure to find ways to solve problems without breaking the bank. So these are three trends that really are coming to a head right now. The first two of the demand and the lack of developers been going on for a decade at least, and the third being something much more recent. And if you go back in time, one of the big ways that people talked about solving and responding to these challenges was to teach everybody to code. Go teach another 25 million developers, 30 million developers how to write code and use AI and do advanced data understanding. And that was going to be how we get out of this mess. But that just doesn't work. It hasn't actually been successful in dramatically increasing the supply of coders. And the reason is because it's a very techno-centric view of how you go solve this problem. Go train the whole world to write code the way technologists do. That's not the way to do it. Instead, we believe, and what we're seeing in Power Platform to be true, is that we have to turn everybody into a developer with a different way of writing code. And that's low code. That's visual-based experiences, drag and drop with some formulas and some code behind if you want to go build out complex, robust solutions. And this is how we're going to get out of this mess and actually Go find ways to help every company digitize over time. And this trend is something Gartner talks about as well, with them predicting that the super majority of enterprise development being done with low code tools in 2024. And in this backdrop is why Microsoft is so focused on Power Platform. Whether you want to write no code at all, you want to write some code like Excel, or you want to be a coder, you can do it all with Power Platform. Power BI makes it easy to do low code data analytics and low code data exploration and understanding. If you can use Excel, then you can use Power BI. Power Apps makes it easy to do low code web and mobile application development. It connects to over 450 different systems. So even if you're not a professional iOS or Android developer, you can build out rich mobile experiences. If you can use PowerPoint, then you can use Power Apps. That's kind of the mental model that we go for with these tools. Power Automate is our low code workflow and robotic process automation tool. So just by dragging and dropping a few different steps and recording actions you do on Windows, you can start to build enterprise grade cloud and desktop automation. So no matter where your IT landscape is, whether it needs UI automation with RPA or it supports APIs, you can connect to it and automate across it. And then Power Virtual Agent for low code chatbots and conversational agents, because so much of the future is going to look and feel different than the classic browser-based applications. Think about what you do with Alexa, or how you communicate over SMS or inside of Teams chat. Very, very different world we're heading into. And this altogether is the single low code platform for Microsoft, something that's really come together over the last 3 years and is just transforming so many of our customers. And it does that by really empowering everybody in the organization. Business users, or citizen developers, as Gartner calls them, are able to write code using these low code tools. And they do it with the same skills they use inside of Office, dragging and dropping controls, writing formulas like they would in Excel, really unlocking that potential. But also IT admins or non-coding technical professionals are able to go use these same tools to go faster and build amazing solutions. So if you're a SharePoint admin, you can now build robust applications and understand data with Power BI and Power Apps. And of course, pro developers and coders can collaborate and communicate and work together with the business users and IT admins on the same single platform. And we've seen this across every company, in every industry, in every country on the globe, whether it's in consumer goods like Coca-Cola, or manufacturing like Toyota, or in telco like Telstra or AT&T. Everywhere you look, we see unbelievable adoption on these tools. And like I said, Power Platform has been around for a few years, but already 92% of the Fortune 500 uses Power Apps, and 97% of the Fortune 500 use at least one Power Platform product. And the reason the adoption is so fast is because it's so easy to get started. You can sign up in seconds, and you can have your first app in minutes, or your first automation or bot in minutes. That's the whole idea. Very fast time to value, and then a very long curve of advanced sophistication as you need it. So when you get started, you never hit a cliff as you scale your solution over time. So really broad adoption across the board. And I just like to kind of lay this out to really highlight this idea that there's fundamental change happening for digital transformation, and it's happening through low code tools. And Microsoft has Power Platform, and we're seeing pretty phenomenal adoption. And we'd love for everybody listening in to go give it a try and grow and develop those skills with a partner or anyone else to go figure out how you create a center of excellence and go build out a great Power Platform practice. And for folks that maybe that's all old news, you already are convinced, you already know about Power Platform, I wanted to share some of our forward-looking information, some of our big focus areas right now, so you kind of get a lens into what we're really focusing on at Microsoft when it comes to Power Platform. And there's 5 main focus areas for us when we talk about low code. The first is this idea of enterprise trust. How do we make it so every CISO and every IT admin, every IT organization can trust the Power Platform inside their company, so that they feel comfortable empowering citizen developers, feel comfortable building mission critical applications on the Power Platform. So all about building that enterprise trust, enterprise grade. The second is bringing artificial intelligence everywhere that we can. The idea is that the future of applications and the future of BI and the future of workflow and automation is going to be incredibly AI infused to help guide you to the key insights on data, to help make your workflow smarter over time, and to even help you with AI to build better solutions. And I have a great little demo just that's a minute long that shows that in action. Third item is this idea of remote work or hybrid work, really embracing the future where business process needs to be reimagined, where people don't always sit together. And if this new way of working is one of the big transformations customers are going through, because technology that worked okay when people were in a big open space may not work well at all when people are inside of Teams all day. So Microsoft Teams or anything like that. So really focus on bringing business process and workflow to those remote environments. Number 4 is this idea of fusion teams. This is a concept where pro developers and business users in IT all collaborate on a single project, despite being very different backgrounds. And these cross-discipline collaboration scenarios are probably the most cutting edge aspects of what low code can basically introduce to an IT environment, because it allows you to leverage the expertise of the business user, allows you to leverage the expertise of the IT admin when it comes to security or governance, and of the coder or developer to go build out services. And 5th, which is very important to so many of our customers as it relates to ERP in particular and back office, is hyper automation. This idea of finding ways to automate lots of different steps inside of a typical business process, which drives massive cost savings from a back office perspective, but also great customer and partner experience because you can process things faster. And hyper automation requires AI, UI automation, API automation, and cloud management and cloud rollout. So those are the 5 big areas. And to really punctuate some of them, I'm just going to go through a few items. The first is Power Automate Desktop. It is a rich Windows-based application to do UI-based automation. So if you're looking for RPA, you should really be looking at Power Automate. It's free to get started with Windows. We work very closely with the Windows team at Microsoft, and really it supports all kinds of applications like Citrix or Java apps, legacy terminals, SAP. So you can run advanced automations by simulating what a human would do with clicks and keyboard inputs and alt tabbing or launching applications. So no matter what the app estate looks like, you can automate it and drive improvement over time. And this ability to do UI automation where it makes sense, and then to go invoke cloud flows with Power Automate, provides a comprehensive and the #1 visionary cloud RPA offering out there. And if we look at one of the most common use cases that we see is around SAP. So if you have an SAP implementation and you want to go bring automation or workflow or connectivity to it, there's native connectivity inside of Power Automate Desktop, and there's native connectivity inside of data connectors for Power Apps and Power BI and Power Automate Cloud Flows. So you can very easily get at your data wherever it is. And if you're on Dynamics, you also can do the same thing, of course, where Power Platform is first and best integration with Dynamics 365. So no matter what your landscape looks like, whether it's heterogeneous or homogeneous, you can go deliver a ton of quick value on top of it using that Power Automate capability. And one of the things that we're really excited about is this idea of Process Advisor, which is a capability inside of Power Automate. It's able to analyze the actions and tasks and processes that employees run with a simple recorder, just like you record a meeting inside of Teams or Zoom. You just click record into your clicks, and it will generate a process map to explain exactly what's going on inside your employee base. And you can then use that to have analytics to know where you should automate or build applications, or you need to do deeper investigation. And we now have the first wave of automation recommenders. So we'll even help you get started building the bots to automate a particular process. So this closed loop of being able to connect to your cloud system, connect to your UI systems, understand what employees are doing and where there's opportunity to generate new automations, that loop, that's really what hyper automation is all about. No matter what you got, no matter what your estate looks like, you can optimize and improve it. And we have the tools to help you do it. So a really exciting time in terms of automation in our view. And that this is a big area of investment, of course, for Microsoft to really go big in automation. Another thing I like to talk about is how we increasingly make Power Platform more accessible to users. And we do this with this idea of moving from low code to no code with artificial intelligence. So this is the idea of how can we use AI to make it easier to build out your solutions. And one of the big announcements we had just a couple of weeks ago at Microsoft Build was this idea of using natural language to generate the Power FX expression. So the idea is when you're building applications and you want to interrogate or query data, you can actually just provide natural language. And we use GPT-3, the world's most robust and advanced natural language generative AI model with 170 billion parameters to generate the best Power FX expression for you. And this really is a complete game changer as we talk about and look at basically evolving the Power Platform over time, this AI assisted or AI powered development. And I have a short just demo clip I want to play from the team, which really shows how transformative this can be.
In this demo, we'll show you how easy it is to make an app to manage repair requests. Here's an app from one of our customers, Arriva. In this app, we want to organize repairs based on what's most immediately needed so that the mechanics can prioritize those repairs first. Here's how we do it. First, we need to set up the gallery in our app, which includes picking our data source and formatting that data. After that's set up, we'll see a little blurb on the top-hand corner that says, "Let Power Apps work for you." By clicking the Let's Go button, we'll be guided to the Ideas tab where we can type our natural language query. For our app, we'd write our idea as if we were speaking it to a friend. Show all repairs that are scheduled in the next week. And in an instant, a list of suggested formulas with an easy-to-read explanation are provided for me to choose from. We'll click the first suggestion since the natural language matches what we wanted, and that's it. Once the changes are applied, we can play the app and test to see our formula in action. In this demo,
that's just a great example in Power Apps how we make it incredibly easy to go build more complex applications with complex filters and data arithmetic using that natural language capability. And that's built on the OpenAI GPT-3 model, which has probably been one of the most exciting technical projects I've worked on in recent memory. So I think if you want to read up more on it, it's definitely pretty neat, but part of a broader trend of that AI powered development. That said, although we're talking about how natural language and making it super easy and accessible for anybody with Power Platform with AI, I want to really highlight that Power Platform hearts developers. And what we mean by that is Power Platform is built for and supports professional development and professional services on top of it. And we even have an architecture diagram we now talk about at Microsoft about what the modern pro developer toolkit looks like. And it looks like this. It has a mixture of low-code tools like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, as well as pro code services like Azure Analysis Services or Azure Functions or Azure SQL. Lots of great capabilities to go from no code to low code to full code. And all of this stack supports Visual Studio and VS Code and GitHub for source control and CI/CD. And the whole idea is that you can start as high as you can in the stack and you can go as low as you must to go build out the solution you need. And it just becomes the modern developer palette is choosing between these low code, pro code tools. And if we go fast forward a few years, we imagine that just about every enterprise application project, every line of business project will have a Power Platform component. And it's not either or, it's an and. Power Platform and pro code, Power Platform and pro developers have no limits and no cliffs. And in terms of product capabilities, we have great Visual Studio add-ins, great VS Code add-ins, and great Azure API management connectivity. So you can easily build custom visuals and custom capabilities for, say, Power Apps portals or Power Apps. You can configure them from source, from inside the standard ID developers know and love. And you can also expose microservices and APIs with Azure API management and custom connectors. So the whole idea is, even if you're using low code, but you're a developer, you can still use developer tools. And this is how so many partners and customers are able to go so incredibly quickly using all of these capabilities to build out very robust, very complete solutions. And it's not just Visual Studio or VS Code, it's also the ability to do source control, so CI/CD and things like that. So there's great GitHub support. There's a YAML-based file format for Power Apps. So you can easily do merging of changes. You can do pull requests. You can have environments for pre-production and user acceptance testing. And you can go enable the item all the way to the right on the slide of enabling seamless fusion teams. So having it so business users and coders can collaborate on a single project. And that's real magic. And what's a great opportunity to go find out expertise with a partner is that could be a partner and your business user working together. And the partner can bring Power Platform expertise, and the business user can bring the business process expertise that you need. That combo is a really powerful one for so many of our customers. And the last thing I like to always quickly cover off when talking about Power Platform is this idea of governance and security. We make it super easy to build Power Platform solutions, but we also make it super easy to secure them and govern them and make them compliant. Power Platform has over 90 compliance offerings, is available in dozens of different geographies, has massive cybersecurity investment, and it has a very robust governance framework with our Center of Excellence Toolkit and our Power Platform Admin Center. So even if you embrace thousands of Power Apps and tens of thousands of Power automations, you can still control and govern it centrally. And just to kind of show some of those features in the product, we have great capabilities for endpoint filtering, Azure Active Directory tenant isolation, data loss prevention, connector configuration at the individual action level, and even broad tenant-based analytics. So a lot of great capabilities, and it's amazing to see how customers have been successful so fast to go find efficiency, build better customer experience and better employee experience by using all of these tools together. So that's kind of all the content I wanted to share, a 20-minute Power Platform whirlwind tour of kind of what we're thinking about, what's the strategy, where we're investing next, and some interesting customer considerations. So with that, I'll switch back over to go to the fireside chat.
Charles, I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around 170 billion translation and logic around the interpreter. That's like quite spectacular.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, you know we have a lot of newbies on the call today, and a lot of them are really thinking about, hey, how do I really kind of learn and apply the Power Platform to my business to kind of really drive some ROI? What kind of advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I'd say there's two main things to really think about. The first is at a business user citizen development level, just get started. Like you can sign up in seconds. There's quantities included with your Office subscription. There's free trials, no credit card required, and it takes a few minutes or a couple hours to get your first app. So I say just get hands-on if you're curious with the product. And the second thing is, if possible, go make the proactive strategic bet on low code. We really believe at Microsoft that this is going to fundamentally change how work is done. The same way that productivity software did 25, 30 years ago, same way the PC did in the past. Really, just like everybody uses Excel and PowerPoint and that type of thing today, you're going to see the same thing for low code development. And one of the best ways to do that strategic transformation is find a partner you can trust to go create that center of excellence, go create some first project which deliver quick value, and go find ways to create fusion teams and bring that expertise, because the world's changing really quick. Go find someone that's helped you actually do a bunch of those transformations in the past. So those two items: get started, try it out, find a partner that can help you get started.
I love it. All right, thank you. No, that was really good. And it is interesting, man. Our data analytics team over the last 18 months has grown exponentially. I mean, it's just, you can just see this like wave of like of new capabilities coming out. What do you think the top couple misconceptions are about the platform? You know, I mean, sometimes people look at it and say, hey, it's just a set of tools, but what do you think some of the misconceptions are?
Yeah. I think probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's only for citizen development. And that's kind of why I had that big slide saying Power Platform hearts developers, is because we make it easy, but the idea is it can start easy, but grow to be incredibly robust. If you think about Excel, I've used Excel my entire life all the time, but every other day I learn something new about what you can do in Excel. It's the same idea. Anyone can get started, but there's deep expertise possible. And for that reason, having coders, IT professionals, or professional services companies supplementing your teams is expected, standard, and good. The idea is it's one platform to do both: high-end apps, as well as business user, citizen developer apps, and fusion teams in between. That's where you really get the magic of the platform, not one or the other. If you do just pro dev, or if you just do citizen dev, you're kind of missing the mark. You want to do both.
All right. Hey, Charles, I want to really thank you for your time today. Appreciate your insight as always, and looking forward to working together in the future. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Chris. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here with Armanino, and I hope everybody got a nice little taste of Power Platform.
All right, thank you. Hey, our next speaker I want to introduce Carmel Wincoup. Carmel, in a former life, was the Chief Technology Officer of a publicly traded company. Now she leads our technology practice, and she's going to give some insights to her experience with the Power Platform and how we've applied it to a few of our customers. Carmel?
All right, thanks, Chris. Charles, great presentation, leads right into what we want to talk about today. And really, I think Charles mentioned some key things around, not breaking the bank to have sophisticated applications and really the time to deliver those, right? So we're going to start with one that's called the Vaccine Registration Scheduling app. So as it became apparent that the vaccine was coming out, we actually partnered with Microsoft professional services group to create a power app, a model-driven power app that would allow states and cities to really plan and figure out how they were going to deliver the vaccine to the overall population. And so we were able to do this in a matter of weeks instead of, if you were going to do this with not something that's low code, no code, or a combination of those things, this would have taken months to deliver, right? So we created a public portal where people can go and register for the vaccine. It shows you the integration maps for the site locations where you can actually go to get the vaccine. And we've already got 5 states and cities, combination of states and cities live with additional ones on the way. And we're expecting over 100 million people to access and utilize this application this year. And knowing that a booster is coming soon, likely that number will probably double. So if you go to the next slide there. And so, this is an interactive application that allows the consumer, so somebody who's getting a vaccine, to go in and select the location they want to go. They can pick a time. They can answer some questions. It's all anonymous from people on the back end aren't going to see that because this is medical information. So it adheres to all the standards that have to be adhered to in order to do that. So let's go to the next slide there. And then it also sends this the vaccine information and details to the CDC. So once you're registered and you have your time scheduled, and when you actually get your vaccine, the application actually sends the immunization registry information to the CDC so that the CDC can track all of that. And again, this application was built in weeks and rolled out and live in that time, which is pretty impressive. It also allows the city or state to have visibility to see how many vaccines they have and how many people have actually made appointments and committed to actually come in and get their vaccine. And we're not sharing this today, but when COVID first came out, the state of New York actually also had an antibody test that they were rolling out. And we actually worked with the state of New York and we rolled that application out, which is very similar to this, in 4 days. So we were contacted, we worked over the weekend, and it was live the following Thursday. So pretty impressive that you're able to do this kind of robust data collection, analytics. You can, the Walgreens was able to scan the QR codes and get that live in a matter of days. So pretty powerful stuff there. We've got one more example. You can go on to the next one, but that's basically the QR code. But we got one more example where we actually built a tool called iManage for one of our clients. And basically this application is pretty impressive. It sits between Microsoft CE and Microsoft Dynamics F&O, or finance and operations. And what this allows this customer to do is really collect information that's in both of those systems into one view. So it's basically a portal view, I guess, a window into both of those systems where they can transact and really manage all of their projects. It allows them to look at their budgeting information. So whether they're over budget, under budget, right on budget, they can make some adjustments there and see their full cost history of their project. Now, if they were going to do this without the this Power Platform, they would have to log into one system, see where things were, and then log into the other system and see how things were going. So this is really kind of a bridge in between those two systems to allow the project managers to really get a holistic view of where their project is without going to multiple systems to do that. All right, go one more slide there, Megan. And it also manages, so you can see it's pulling in information about the bill of materials that go to a project. You've got the purchase orders and their different statuses, and all the order details. You can also schedule service representatives to go out on location and make updates to the project. So it's a pretty powerful tool that leverages the no-code, low-code platform to enhance the CE and F&O experiences, and allowing those users to see all of that stuff in one place, which we thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I love the fact that you really avoid, complex integration between two systems by leveraging the Power Platform. I think that is just that's really where a lot of the value comes into play in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And I think we're seeing that more and more. And I think as we continue to advance, the Power Platform, Charles mentioned this as well, it is playing a role in every single one of our projects right now that we're seeing. So and we're really excited about it. And I think we've got like 25 different Power projects happening at one time right this second. So and more coming. So yeah, we're excited about it. And Murray Fife is now going to show us talk a little bit about bots in the Power Platform. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Hey, Murray, welcome aboard. Thank you. Murray is one of the global black belts around the data, automation integration team at Microsoft, and really appreciate him taking the time and walking you through sort of, some of his experiences as he's kind of demoed to, many prospects and customers, the capabilities of the Power Platform. Murray, hand it over to you. You're on mute.
Yep. So.
Hey, no problem.
It's because it's Zoom, not Teams.
I was waiting for that.
No, but that. Let me share my screen. So, as Chris said, I'm a global black belt here at Microsoft, working with the Biz Apps applications. So that's our ERP and our CRM applications. Now, one of the things that I like about the Power Platform is how we can automate tasks and how we can streamline things all through the system without actually going again and doing code, just as Charles was saying. But one of the areas that we haven't looked at yet in this presentation is bots. And the Power Virtual Assistants is part of the Power Platform. And what that allows us to do is it actually allows us to go and create these conversational interfaces with other applications. And the true value of bots is that they get rid of the repetitive tasks, or they give you a streamlined process to get through a conversation or a request. And then once you've gathered all this information, then you can do things with it. So Gartner says that there's a 70% reduction in calls or email inquiries if some of these repetitive tasks are moved over to chatbots and other interfaces. And then also some people, and I'm maybe a little bit guilty of this, would rather just solve the problem yourself and not necessarily get on a call with a support agent unless you have to. Because sometimes the things you're trying to solve they're problems, but they're simple problems. And rather than staying on hold and waiting and all of these things, if you can actually get these managed and fixed right away through a conversational agent, then really 2/3 of the people out there really want to do that. So those are the benefits of bots. But when we start looking at how we generate bots with the Power Virtual Agents, then it's a very different process than if you're going out and developing bots and conversational agents through the traditional means. So if you, I've gone out and I've created them through Visual Studio and created code and all of that stuff, but it's hard. It takes a lot of skills. So the Power Virtual Agents are special because they're very easy to roll out and deploy. But also you end up with this life cycle of the virtual agent. Because it's so nimble, you can go out and iterate through the virtual agent very quickly. You can look at what people are asking about and seeing where there are bottlenecks, and then you go through this life cycle. You create the bot, you publish it, and then you go out and see what's happening. Then maybe you make a change and you improve it. And then it's always, just like us, it's always improving and you're always making changes to it. So this is apart from this being a very rapid process, this is a very easy process, as we'll see. So I'm going to show two demonstrations as we move through this. The first one is the authoring process, how you build these bots. It's with the theme of everything being low code, then, or even no code, then the way that we create these conversations is purely through a drag and drop process. So we can add comments, we can add questions along the way, and then we have different stages that we move through, and we can test this. So if we actually look at a bot, then I'm over here and I'm inside of the Power Virtual Agent. And this is one of the, this is a virtual agent that I created to interface with the ERP system so that people could go out, and in this case, so that people could go out and create maintenance requests through a chat rather than going out and having to log into in our case, Dynamics, or it could be any other system that you've got. Now, when we look at these, the way that we build these individual bots is through this conversation that we have. So we have questions and we perform tasks or we do actions. The questions can go out and you can grab the information and extract it back and save it in memory so that you can use that later on. So this is a case where I'm going out and I'm asking what the identification of the asset is. So it's moving through, and then it comes to a point where there's an action here. This is also another interesting point because the bots blend different parts of the Power platform together. So when we're going out and when we need to grab information from other systems, then we're going out and using these, using a Power Automate flow to go out and query information. We can go out to the 450 plus different connectors to grab information to hydrate our conversation so that we can have more information here. We can also do really clever things with these. We can filter these as functions and a lot of different things that we can manage. Now, when we go back to the bot though, we can also test this. So I can say, I can go to here, get my mouse over here. So now what we can see is we can debug the process. So it's telling me that it's come to this point and it's saying, give me a detailed description. And I can move through and say my forklift is broken. And then it's going to ask me what my forklift number is. And it's stepping me through this and it's going back to the ERP system to grab this information. So as we're stepping through, then we can see how this works. But the other benefit of this comes in the second part of the demo that I'm going to show, in that how we surface these bots out to other people. So I can publish these bots into a website. I can have it as an embedded bot within an e-commerce site or a portal. I can also put it into Teams. I can put it into Slack. I can put it into Facebook. I can turn it into an email bot and also a voice bot as well. There's different options there. So when we look at these, then out of the box, once we've built this bot, and then we can let it loose in the wild. So I can choose just to put this out into a custom app or a website, or I can say, I want to make this available on Teams, so that then maybe the employees could just go onto their phone and make the request. And all that we need to do for that is to click this Teams button, and then that is going to add it to my chosen channel. So if I'm over here in Teams, then I have my bot showing up here on the side. And now what I can do is I can say, we have a problem. And when I'm going out and asking these questions, it's doing a lot in the background. It's doing natural language processing. I could say, stuck in a ditch. And then step through this and move through the process. And the asset tag is FL01. Now it's going back and it's looking up that information, so it's validating that information for me, and that's the correct asset. So as you can see, these conversations become a natural way of gathering information throughout the system. We can do other things where we can get it to pop up information, but now it says it's gone out and it's creating this maintenance request for me. So just to prove that, if I'm looking inside of my my ERP, Dynamics 365 in this case, then it's gone out, it's interfaced, it's used all the connectors, and it's created this record outside of the conversation so that then someone else can work on it. So all of these processes I did without any coding. I iterated a couple of times and worked through the process of developing this bot and deployed it out. And within this bot that I had here, probably took me around about half an hour to build. And when you compare that to what anyone has to do the traditional way, then this is huge. I think it's amazing that we can actually go out and take advantage of this.
Yeah, and the use cases are endless. I mean, if you think about it, you could do it like an inventory lookup, or if you had a non-conformance issue from a quality perspective, initiate a quality order. So it's just super exciting, and this kind of automation, I think people are just beginning to kind of scratch the surface within their organization. So really enlightening. Maria, I want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you putting in the effort and great messaging. Now I want to turn it over to Alex Fredrickson, who's one of our Armanino Solutions architects, and he is going to walk through a couple of use cases that we've deployed for a few of our customers. Alex, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Let me go ahead and get this sharing. So in this last section, wanted to jump into a live scenario that really brings together a few of the concepts that we've talked about thus far today. And so what I'm going to dive into is a use case that leverages Power Apps. We're going to be using a Canvas app. We're going to be using Power Automate to facilitate and automate a few steps within our process. And then a concept within the platform that we haven't talked about today is called AI Builder. And so AI Builder really makes the concept of leveraging artificial intelligence within your organization a lot more approachable than it's been over the previous, couple of years. And so we'll dive into an example of how we can use AI to process forms, to read documents, essentially like an OCR tool straight out of the box from Power Platform, to be able to consume a document, and then leveraging Power Automate, update our systems, whether that's Dynamics 365, whether that's SAP, like Charles introduced earlier on, or leveraging RPA to interact with some of your legacy UI-based systems. So we'll be going through a vendor invoice processing system. And so this is going to start in our case in Outlook with Exchange Online. That's how we're going to be receiving these invoices from our vendors. But this could easily start in a SharePoint site through an FTP process, from a scanner for those vendors that are still mailing those invoices to you. And so this can be triggered in many different ways, and can be adopted really broadly across all organizations. So let me go ahead and jump out here and show you where we started. So in this case, I mentioned I started with an email, and I just sent these during Murray's session here so we could get the processing kicked off. And you could see I sent in to ap@armaninollp.com a couple of different invoices. I wanted to show how we can process invoices for all your vendors in one consolidated workflow. And so I got this invoice in from Costco. And so we can see here I ordered some food and things for the office. And then I also have this invoice coming in from Office Depot. And so we can see just kind of a different flavor and a different invoice layout that we have coming in from that source. And so based on receiving this email, our Power Automate's going to kick off. It's going to strip that document out of the email and put it through our AI Builder processing engine. And so what that's going to do is read each one of these invoices and insert that data and make it available within our Power App. So here within the Power App, we can see that some of this information has come through. And so we can see the 2 different invoices that I sent. We can see the different amounts that have been processed through. And from one screen, as a purchasing manager or another individual within your organization, I can start to go in, process, validate the data that we're receiving within these invoices before committing those changes to our ERP and posting these vendor invoices. So I click on that first invoice, and we can see here I can pull up a preview within my Power App. Here I'm running within the web. This can also run within the Windows 10 Power Apps app or on tablet or mobile. And I can quickly see, okay, here's my Office Depot invoice. I got 3 photocopiers for $3,300 each. Plus tax is $10,890. And so I can validate that all the information is correct. Here, my working date in this case is back in December. So I can validate, yes, this is the working date in which we want to post this invoice, and include a due date as well. And so this gives me the ability not only to validate that the information coming through the AI Builder process is accurate, but also gives me the opportunity to change and update these data points as I see fit. For example, if I wanted to associate this to a sales order, it looks like that didn't get picked up. I can go ahead and key that in as I'm looking here on the document, add any comments relevant, and move on to the next invoice. In this case, my next invoice is that Costco wholesale invoice. And even though this is a completely different layout, we were still able to grab that invoice number, the bill to organization, and the total amount as defined by our AI Builder model for this particular AP invoice as well. And again, I can validate this to move forward. So as I mentioned, we can go through and in one screen process all of our AP invoices. This could be across multiple companies. This could even be if you have multiple ERPs in place. We can consolidate this process, give you one screen to do all your invoice processing, and connect automatically to those backend systems to actually complete the posting of that invoice. So a lot of really rich capabilities here. And to give you a little bit of insight into kind of the how we make this work, I wanted to jump into the Power Platform here and into our AI Builder. And so here we can see the model that I used and trained to bring in and automatically read these invoices. And we can see here I have this training document, and it looks a lot like that Office Depot example. But even though our training document looks one way, we can actually read multiple different layouts, as I showed you with that Costco wholesale example. In here, we can read multiple layouts based on the history of documents we've received previously that can be used to train the AI automatically. So over time, as you process more and more invoices, it's actually going to get smarter and more accurate to be able to pull in the details that we need to go ahead and post these vendor invoices. And so here gives you a little bit of insight as to what this AI component is doing. And so it's going and it's finding the relevant details. And what's cool is it's also giving us a confidence score. So as we're building out automation around this process, depending on our confidence, maybe we skip the end user review altogether and just go ahead and post those invoices into the ERP system. So it just gives us a lot of opportunities to automate any type of form reading process, and then be able to flag and escalate certain interactions to human validation where necessary based on this confidence score. And you'll see here we can even build out tables within these AI builder processes as well. And we can see it detected this table with multiple products and amounts for those lines. So some pretty cool stuff. And since I do have a couple more minutes here before I hand it off to Chris, just wanted to get some other kind of ideas going with the audience here around different ways in which you can leverage the AI builder. So we looked at form processing as kind of a core example of this today, but there's many different ways in which you can leverage some of the templates that Microsoft has developed for you to take advantage of this technology. And Charles started us off saying, one of the best ways to get going is just to dive in, right? There's trials available. You can easily turn this on and start playing with it for free without credit card entry or anything. And so just jump in and start playing with these bots. One of the really cool ones that I like is this sentiment analysis. If you want to read interactions going back and forth with your customer service teams and understand where might we have negative sentiment and how might we want to escalate those negative interactions to a customer service manager, this would be a great way to accomplish that type of capability. And so if I go ahead and paste in one of a message I got earlier from a colleague, I can analyze that text and I can understand, okay, this has a mixed sentiment, but why? And I can easily see, okay, we've got a number of different positive components within this message, but our fireside, it's a little bit too hot outside for a fireside chat, came across as negative in this case. So just some cool ways in which we can implement AI in different ways within the organization. And the last one I want to talking about customer service, one thing that's becoming more and more prevalent is Murray mentioned around some of the self-service components of customer service is knowledge base. And it's definitely tied into bots and some of the Power Virtual Agent components that he showed us. And so another great use case for leveraging AI Builder is this category classification. So we can pass our knowledge base articles through the AI Builder to read them and come up with tags to make those articles more searchable and easier to find, not only for your internal CSRs, but for your customers who are looking to serve themselves through your portal or through your website, and even via a bot who can then use their keywords and use some of this category classification to recommend those knowledge base articles or links back to your customers through that bot interaction. So a lot of great ways to use AI, and Microsoft has just made it incredibly approachable and user friendly to dive into this stuff. So just want to really recommend that folks jump in and give this a try and see how the AI Builder can help you automate your process.
Alex, thank you. That was really good and very insightful. And yeah, I want to thank the folks that joined the event today, and I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions at all, feel free to either email myself or Megan, and we'll be happy to get those answered and get that back to you. In addition, I mean, we're working with our customers to solve some of these complex problems. If you have kind of a scenario and you want to bounce ideas off of us, or we can help you through a proof of concept, more than happy to do that. We've been doing this for a long time now and have a lot of experience. So once again, thank you. Appreciate your time, and everyone have a great, what is today? Thursday. All right, take care.